Today was just one of those days, the ones that start with a cup of coffee that cools down before you even get the chance to take the first sip. Everything was normal, until, out of nowhere, she appeared. The queen of control, my micromanager, glided down the hallway with that determined look only she can manage. She was approaching my desk, and I could already feel the drama about to unfold. With a slight clearing of her throat, she announced her presence and, wasting no time, dropped the bomb. "I need access to your Outlook calendar." Seriously? My calendar? It was as if she was asking for the key to my diary, my sanctuary of personal planning. But, of course, in the corporate world, diplomacy is an art. So, with a smile hiding a million plans, I agreed. She was so pleased with her achievement that I could almost hear the sound of an imaginary victory playing in her head as she walked away. Little did she know that, as her high-heeled shoes echoed down the hallway, my mind was already racing. I knew exactly what I needed to do. As soon as her office door closed behind her, I leaned forward and began deleting all my personal tasks from the calendar. You might be wondering, why would anyone do that? Simple. I needed a calendar just for me, a safe space where I could jot down all my real activities without the watchful eye of my micromanager. With surgical precision, I cleared out all the appointments I had noted down, those that ensured I wouldn't be stuck in the office past 5 p.m. Then, I created a new calendar, my secret operations diary, a place where I could document every detail of my actual work and, of course, how long it would take to complete each task. I left only the basics in the shared calendar: team meetings, paid holidays, and PTO/OO, scheduled free time and out of office. Nothing to raise immediate suspicions. After all, I don't want the control queen to realize I'm playing a different game. The truth is, I'm very diligent in my work. I do everything between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. because I value my time outside the office. And I know that recently, she had to hire extra help from other project managers because their workloads were unsustainable. Maybe she's trying to justify my dismissal, simply overload me with other people's work. But with my secret calendar, she'll be kept in the dark. She won't know exactly what I'm working on until our monthly reports. The monthly reports, my true shield. There, I'll have to log my time in the tracking software and achieve an 80% tracked KPI for a specific project each month. It's a cat and mouse game, and I'm determined to win. Every day, my strategy strengthens. Welcome to the thrilling world of the modern office, where a calendar can be both a productivity tool and a shield against managerial tyranny. And so, the great calendar coup begins. As soon as she walked away, with that look of accomplishment plastered on her face, I knew it was time to act. The control queen had gained access to my Outlook calendar, but little did she know that this would be just the beginning of a saga of intelligence and subtlety. First, I made sure she was out of sight. With the coast clear, I leaned over the keyboard and began deleting all the tasks I had carefully entered. Tasks that ensured my time was well distributed during business hours. I was meticulous. After all, the balance between work and personal life is an art. Each task deleted was a step toward freedom. As the calendar emptied, a sense of relief and empowerment washed over me. It was as if I were wiping the slate clean to write a new story, a story where I would have total control. And then, with a discreet smile, I created a new calendar. This wouldn't be an ordinary calendar. This would be my secret operations diary, a space just for me, where I could document every detail of my real work. Every project, every task, every minute dedicated, all meticulously recorded. In my secret diary, each appointment had a clear purpose. The organization was impeccable. I noted not only what I did, but also how long it took to do each thing. It was a productivity tool that would also serve as my shield against any attempt at excessive control. Meanwhile, the shared calendar, which my micromanager now had access to, was a minimalist work of art. Just the basics: team meetings, paid holidays, and PTO/OO, scheduled free time and out of office. Nothing to raise immediate suspicions. Creating this secret diary was like building a fortress. Each entry, a wall erected against intrusion. Each detail, proof that I had control over my own professional journey. And so, the silent battle continued. She thought she had won a small war by gaining access to my calendar, but little did she know that this was just the beginning of a new strategy, where every move would be carefully calculated. The creation of the secret diary was a crucial step, a move that would ensure my freedom and the continuation of my own work rhythm. And as the game continued, I was more prepared than ever to face any challenge that came my way. The sound of my micromanager's heels still echoed down the hallway as the idea of the ghost calendar took shape in my mind. It was the perfect scheme. A calendar that seemed functional but was, in fact, an illusion, a carefully constructed facade to maintain appearances and hide the truth. I began setting up the shared calendar, inputting only the basics: team meetings, paid holidays, and PTO/OO. Scheduled time off and out of the office. Simple, straightforward, and unquestionable. Each entry was placed with surgical precision, like pieces of a puzzle forming a deceptive picture of my work routine. Team meetings? Check. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Paid holidays? Absolutely essential. And of course, scheduled time off and out of the office. After all, who would question the need for well-deserved rest? Nothing to raise suspicion, nothing to reveal the true nature of my planning. The beauty of the ghost calendar lay in its simplicity. It was enough to satisfy my micromanager's incessant need for control without revealing anything more than necessary. She would see what she expected to see. An employee diligently fulfilling their obligations, always present in meetings, respecting holidays, and planning their free time exemplarily. Meanwhile, my true schedule, the secret operations journal, remained hidden, a well-kept secret. There, I noted every real task, every project I worked on, and how long it took to complete each activity. It was my map to navigate the turbulent waters of micromanagement, ensuring I could do my work efficiently without the constant burden of excessive supervision. The ghost calendar became my masterpiece of corporate subterfuge. Every time my micromanager checked the shared calendar, she saw exactly what she wanted to see, completely unaware that she was being deceived. The sense of control she felt was an illusion, carefully nurtured to maintain her trust and ward off her suspicions. And so, the game continued. She thought she was in charge, but I was the master of my own schedule, skillfully navigating between the demands of work and the need to maintain my sanity. The ghost calendar was my secret weapon, a smokescreen protecting my true productivity and ensuring I could continue working efficiently and balanced. Every day, my micromanager's confidence in the shared calendar reinforced my strategy. She would never suspect the truth, never realize the duplicity that sustained my routine. And me? I was more than prepared to keep playing this game, always one step ahead, always keeping the illusion intact. In a world where the line between work and personal life becomes increasingly blurred, I stand firm on one principle: business hours are sacred. As a good salaried employee, I am diligent in completing all my tasks between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Because, let's be honest, nobody here wants to be the hero sacrificing nights and weekends on the altar of work. The clock hands had barely completed the 8 a.m. loop when I was already immersed in my tasks, with an almost monastic focus. With every email answered, every report finished, I silently reminded myself that my efficiency was not just a virtue but a necessity. And as I went about my routine, my micromanager faced her own battle. She had to hire extra help from other project managers whose workloads overflowed like a river in flood. The environment was becoming a managerial chaos, and I felt the currents of that chaos approaching me. The feeling that something was being plotted started to haunt me. I have a distinct impression that my micromanager is trying to justify my dismissal, or worse, laying the groundwork to burden me with other people's work. It's a common strategy. When the workload becomes unsustainable, blaming a subordinate is the easy way out for those in charge. But I wouldn't let myself be beaten down. My business hours were a fortress, an invisible yet impassable barrier. Between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m., I was a productivity machine, but outside of that window, I reclaimed my personal territory, my time to recharge and live beyond spreadsheets and reports. Every day was a new challenge, a new attempt to balance my responsibilities and maintain my sanity. I knew she was watching, trying to find faults, waiting for a slip-up. But I was determined not to give her that satisfaction. Every minute within business hours was a battle won, proof that I could be efficient and still keep my boundaries intact. And as the pressure mounted and the chaos around me intensified, I stood firm. Because at the end of the day, the key to surviving micromanagement wasn't just working hard but working smart. Ensuring every task was completed within business hours was not just a matter of principle but a survival strategy. And so, while my micromanager plotted her strategies and the other project managers fought against the rising tide of work, I forged ahead, balancing the delicate dance between productivity and personal preservation. Business hours were my shield, my assurance that, no matter how turbulent the situation became, I would be prepared to face every challenge, one day at a time. As my micromanager navigated her realm of control, she had no idea of the puzzle I had created. My secret calendar was a labyrinth of information, carefully manipulated, a mirror that reflected only what I wanted her to see. However, the real work was hidden, outside of her field of vision. The beauty of my secret calendar lay in its deceptive simplicity. At a glance, it seemed like I was following the normal flow of tasks, meetings, and appointments. But in reality, it was a skillfully designed mask to keep my true activities off the radar. Every entry in the shared calendar was a false lead, a piece of a puzzle that would never fit together. She, my micromanager, would be kept in the dark, unaware of exactly what I was working on. Every time she checked the calendar, she would only see a fraction of the truth. My true daily tasks, my real projects, everything was carefully concealed. It was like watching a play where the main stage distracted from the real drama unfolding behind the scenes. Monthly reports were the key to keeping this shadow play running. The monthly reports, my true lifeline. They were the bridge between illusion and reality. At the end of each month, I recorded my time in the tracking software. Reaching the KPI of 80% tracked for a specific project, it was enough to maintain appearances, to ensure that everything seemed to be under control. With each report, I crafted the narrative of an efficient and dedicated employee. Every number, every percentage, carefully calculated not to raise suspicions. It was a delicate balancing act, a dance between what was real and what appeared to be. And so, the puzzle of the calendar continued to confuse and deceive. I knew she expected to find flaws, something to justify her suspicions. But every time she looked at the calendar, she found only what I wanted her to see. A smokescreen, an illusion of transparency hiding the truth. It was a dangerous game, but I was prepared to play. Deep down, the puzzle of the calendar was more than just a survival strategy. It was a reminder that even under the watchful eye of the micromanager, I still had control over my own destiny. Every entry in the calendar, every monthly report, was proof that I could navigate the turbulent waters of micromanagement and emerge unscathed. And so, the game continued. She, unaware of the true extent of my work, and I, always one step ahead, keeping the illusion intact. The puzzle of the calendar was my masterpiece, a constant reminder that, no matter how tight the control, there would always be room for ingenuity and resilience. The time for monthly reports has come, that critical period where everything needs to be meticulously recorded, every minute counted as if it were gold. For many, a tedious and mechanical task, but for me, it has become an art of timekeeping, of weaving a web so finely crafted that it would keep my micromanager confused and frustrated in her attempts to unravel me. Every month, I sit before the tracking software, prepared for the performance. The numbers dance in front of me as I carefully calculate how to distribute my time. The goal? Achieve an 80% tracked KPI for a specific project. That magical number, that percentage, was the shield that protected me, the smokescreen that hid the reality. I start by reviewing my secret operations journal, where everything is documented with precision. My true tasks, the projects I really worked on, every dedicated minute. It's an authentic record, but one that will never see the light of day outside of my own control. From there, I turn these data into something more palatable, more neutral. In the tracking software, each task becomes a piece of a puzzle that, in the eyes of the micromanager, seems coherent but never complete. I distribute my hours in a way that meets expectations without revealing the full picture. It's a dance of numbers, a precise choreography that hides as much as it reveals. Timekeeping becomes a balancing act. Every entry is carefully considered, every project carefully chosen to meet the necessary KPI. Not a minute more, not a minute less. It's enough to keep her satisfied, to ward off any suspicion that something is amiss. With every report sent, I breathe a sigh of relief, knowing that I've kept the illusion intact for another month. The micromanager, in her relentless quest for control, sifts through the reports, searching for flaws, inconsistencies, anything that might indicate that I'm not meeting expectations. But she finds only what I want her to see. A diligent employee, meeting his goals, keeping up with the expected pace. She will never know about the silent battle that takes place behind those numbers. And so, the art of timekeeping becomes my trump card. Each month is a new work, a new challenge to hide the truth in plain sight. While she tries, fruitlessly, to decipher my steps, I continue to weave my web, always one step ahead, always controlling my own narrative. In the end, timekeeping is not just an administrative task. It's a strategic game, a delicate dance where every move counts. And as long as I can maintain this rhythm, the smokescreen will remain firm, protecting my true routine and ensuring that, despite all the control she believes she has, the truth will remain only mine. The calendar battle continues, each day a new move, a new strategy. While my micromanager tirelessly seeks to control every aspect of my workday, I become more cunning, more adept at hiding my true journey behind a facade of normalcy. Every entry in the calendar is a piece in a chess game, where every move is calculated, every decision carefully weighed. While she tries to decipher my steps, I keep my guard up, protecting my freedom and autonomy. It's an exciting game of cat and mouse in the modern office, where a simple calendar becomes both a productivity tool and a shield against managerial tyranny. While she strives to maintain control, I find creative ways to bypass her expectations, staying true to my own principles and boundaries. With every move, the tension mounts. Every furtive glance toward the shared calendar is an opportunity to reinforce my strategy, to adjust my course as needed. And so, the game continues, an endless cycle of action and reaction, where neither side is willing to give ground. Welcome to the thrilling world of the modern office, where each day is a new battle, each calendar a potential weapon. As long as I continue to navigate the turbulent waters of micromanagement with skill and determination, I'll be ready to face whatever challenges fate throws my way.